My name is Stanley. That evening, I truly believed everything was finally aligning. But it began like any typical Friday. Months of saving, planning, and stressing over every little detail had led me here. This was the night I was going to propose to Julia. We had been together for just over 2 years, and from the start, everything between us had clicked. She was intelligent, witty, and had this grounded presence that made me feel like building a future with her wasn't just a dream, it was possible. I never once doubted that feeling. I wanted the proposal to feel like us, genuine, simple, meaningful. Something intimate, not flashy. I settled on Matteo's, the quaint Italian place where we'd had our first real date. It was warm, quiet, tucked away from the world, just like how we were as a couple. I asked Marcus, my closest friend, to help me reserve the private room. Julia's cousin, Haley, volunteered to handle the decorations. Nothing extravagant, just a few candles and flowers to set the tone. The ring sat heavy in my jacket pocket, a minimalist silver band with a single diamond. Elegant and classic, exactly the style Julia always said she loved. We left our apartment a little before 8 p.m. Julia descended the stairs in a green dress I didn't recognize. She smiled at me, and for a moment, all my nerves vanished. She still had that effect, able to silence all the noise in my head with just a look. We chatted a bit on the drive, but something felt off. She kept glancing at her phone, typing quickly, hiding the screen every time I looked her way. I asked, "Everything all right?" She tucked a strand of hair behind her ear and offered a quick smile. "Yeah, just dealing with some annoying texts. Nothing serious." I believed her. Or maybe I wanted to. When we reached the restaurant, I texted Marcus to let him know we had arrived. He replied, "All set." I touched the ring box again, grounding myself in the moment. Oddly, I felt calm. My hands weren't shaking. This was it, the night that would change my life. And it did. Just not in the way I had imagined. As we stepped into Matteo's, the space was dimly lit, exactly as I'd requested. Soft music drifted in the background, candles flickered gently, and the private room was set. Marcus and Haley were hidden behind one of the partition walls, waiting for the cue. Julia glanced around, offering a faint smile. "This is nice. Just nice. Not amazing. Not beautiful. Just nice." Still, I shrugged it off. This was my moment, and I wouldn't let nerves throw me off course. We sat down. Neither of us touched the menus. Without a word, the waiter brought 2 glasses of wine, another small detail I had planned ahead of time. Then her phone vibrated against the table. She grabbed it instantly, almost too quickly. Before she could flip the screen, I saw the name, Lucas. Not her mom, not Haley, not a coworker. Just Lucas. "Everything okay?" I asked, trying to sound casual. She gave a short laugh, one that didn't reach her eyes. "Oh, just Lucas from my running club. He's probably checking in about plans this weekend. No big deal." I nodded slowly. Maybe I was overthinking it. Maybe I was being paranoid. But something twisted deep in my stomach. Then Marcus texted, "Ready?" I typed back, "1 second." Julia kept chatting about some new show she'd started watching, but her eyes kept drifting back to her phone. Her body was here, but her mind wasn't. I could have stopped everything right then, taken a breath, and asked her directly. But I didn't. Instead, I stood up from the table, pulled the ring box from my jacket, and got down on one knee. Julia's eyes went wide. She blinked, as if trying to catch up with the moment. I looked into her face and said, "Julia Martin, I love you more than words can say. Will you marry me?" The world seemed to freeze. Even the music faded into silence. She gasped, hands flying to her mouth, and tears filled her eyes. She nodded quickly, almost desperately. "Yes," she whispered. "Yes, Stanley." From behind the partition, Marcus and Haley clapped. Haley wiped at her eyes, and Marcus gave me a proud thumbs up. I slipped the ring onto her finger and kissed her hand. For the first time that night, I let myself breathe. And then, her phone buzzed again under the table. I wasn't quick enough to ignore it. The screen lit up with a message I couldn't unsee. "Miss you. Can't wait to see you." I didn't react right away. I just sat back in my chair, heart thudding in my chest, mind racing. Julia wiped at her tears and laughed nervously, lifting her hand to show the ring off to Haley across the room. Marcus and Haley beamed, taking in the scene like everything was perfect. But I wasn't really in the room anymore. I was watching it all from a distance, like it was happening to someone else. Julia tucked her phone away, caught my stare, and smiled just a bit too wide. "You okay?" she asked, though it felt like she already knew I wasn't. "Yeah," I said. My voice didn't sound like my own. Dinner went on. The food came. Toasts were made. But nothing felt the same anymore. Marcus was tossing out ideas for the bachelor party, grinning as he rattled off possibilities. Haley chimed in, talking excitedly about dresses and boutiques. But across from me, Julia was staring at her phone again, barely even pretending to care who noticed. Her attention was elsewhere, on that screen, not with us. When dessert arrived, she leaned over, kissed me on the cheek, and murmured, "Be right back, babe. Just need a minute." She disappeared toward the hallway in the back. Marcus nudged me with a smile. "Dude, you nailed it." She looked like she was floating. I forced a smile and nodded. It felt robotic. 30 seconds ticked by. Then I stood up and quietly followed her. I found her just past the kitchen exit, standing near the rear door, half hidden in the shadows. The phone was tight to her ear. "I don't have long, Lucas," she whispered. Her voice was tense. "He proposed." "Yeah," I said yes. I know, it's insane." There was a pause. Then she continued, "No, I didn't tell him about us. He still thinks everything's fine. Just give me a little more time. I'll figure it out." Another pause. Then her tone softened. "Intimate. I miss you too. I can't wait to see you tonight." My chest twisted. I stepped forward, the floor creaking beneath my shoes. She turned sharply. The color drained from her face. "Stanley," she stammered, scrambling to stuff her phone into her purse like a kid hiding stolen candy. I raised my hand. "No lies, not now." "Who's Lucas?" I asked. My voice was low, but steady. Her mouth opened, then closed again. She swallowed. "It's not what it sounds like," she rushed to say. It's complicated." I said nothing. I just waited. She stepped toward me, hand outstretched. "Can we go back inside? Please? We'll talk after, okay?" After. It was always after. I exhaled slowly. My hands were steady. My voice was calm. "This ends here," I said. "You can go back and enjoy the performance if you want. I'm done." I turned away. I walked. The moment grew heavier with every step. Julia hurried after me, her heels striking the floor like frantic beats of guilt. "Stanley, wait," she called. I didn't stop. I pushed the door open and stepped into the cold night air. It hit me like a slap, sharp, sobering. She caught up outside and grabbed my arm, breathless. "Please," she begged, "just listen." I pulled away and faced her. "You said yes to me," I said firmly. "And then you told him you missed him." She froze. I continued, voice slicing through the night. "You lied. What part of that am I misunderstanding?" Tears filled her eyes. She blinked quickly. "I didn't mean for this to happen," she said, her voice cracking. "Lucas, it wasn't serious. It was stupid. A mistake. Didn't mean anything." I repeated, disbelief soaking into my tone. "You were sneaking off during your engagement dinner to talk to someone else." She opened her mouth but no words came. Behind her, Marcus and Haley stepped outside, both looking confused. Marcus locked eyes with me, his face falling the moment he read the situation. "You lied," I said again, voice raw. "And you're still doing it." Julia's face crumpled. "Not here," she whispered. "Please." I let out a short, bitter laugh. "You already made it here." "I love you, Stanley. I do. I was just scared. That's all. It was a mistake. I can fix this, she said, desperation spilling from her. You don't fix love by having a backup, I replied, taking a step back. The space between us widened. The street was silent, save for our breathing. I reached into my pocket and pulled out the ring box, now empty. The same one I'd carried for months. The symbol of what I thought was forever. I placed it in her hand without a word. You'll need this with someone else. She stared at the box, stunned, her fingers closing around it automatically. Words failed her. I turned and walked away. I didn't look back. I got into my car and drove off like I was escaping a collapsing building. Back home, I locked the door and shoved a chair beneath the knob. She wasn't coming in. Not after that. I tossed my keys on the counter and sank into the couch, staring blankly at the wall. It was supposed to be the happiest night of my life. Instead, it felt like the floor had vanished beneath me. She came by later. First, a soft knock. Then harder. Then her voice calling my name from the other side. I didn't move. Eventually, the knocking stopped. I sat in the stillness, listening. Waiting. Finally, I heard her footsteps fade. That night, my phone lit up again and again. Texts from Julia. Apologies. Please. Promises. I ignored them. I wasn't ready to hear more lies. Not yet. By morning, I'd called a locksmith. The locks were changed before noon. New keys. New rules. She wasn't getting back in. 3 days passed. I went to work. Hit the gym. Pretended everything was normal. Then I cleared the apartment. Packed every last thing that belonged to her. Clothes, books, even the framed photo she loved. Boxed it all and dropped it off at her parents' house. No note. No warning. Just finality. She kept trying. Calls, messages, even showing up at my job, but I ignored it all. I thought that would be the end. I was wrong. Thursday night, my phone rang. Unknown number. I nearly let it go to voicemail, but something told me to answer. Hello. A hesitant voice replied, Is this Stanley? Yeah. Who's this? This is Lucas, he said. I stood up, heart slamming into my ribs. What do you want? I didn't know she was in a relationship, he said. Julia told me she was single. I stayed silent. Just listened. We met at the gym about 4 months ago, he went on. She said she was seeing someone casually, but it wasn't serious. I didn't even know your name until last week. His words hung there, heavy in the silence that followed. I ended things when I found out, he said at last. Told her it wasn't fair. She said she didn't want to lose either of us. My jaw tightened, fists curling at my sides. Listen, man. Lucas's voice dropped, quieter now. I'm sorry. If I'd known she was with someone, I never would have gotten involved. I swallowed hard, throat dry. Thanks for telling me, I muttered, then ended the call. I just sat there afterward, staring at the floor, my thoughts scattered like broken glass. While I was making plans, talking about rings and honeymoon destinations, she was still on the fence. Still juggling. Still unsure. All those nights she said she had late meetings. All the weekends she claimed she needed time alone to recharge. The red flags were there. I just didn't want to look. But now, no more illusions. No more excuses. I finally saw Julia for who she really was, and it wasn't the woman I thought I'd spend my life with. 2 days after that call, she came by. I heard the knock. Didn't move right away. Then I stood up and opened the door. She stood there, no makeup, hair in a messy knot, hoodie hanging off her shoulders. She looked smaller somehow. Eyes puffy, like she hadn't slept in days. Stanley, she said, her voice cracking. Can we talk? I leaned on the doorframe, arms crossed. Go ahead. I messed up, she started quickly, the words tumbling out. I know I did. But you have to believe me, I never meant to hurt you. I was scared. I didn't know if I was ready. Lucas, he was just a distraction, that's all. I stayed quiet. When you proposed, it hit me how much I loved you. And I panicked. I thought maybe I didn't deserve that kind of love. But I do love you. I really do. I studied her face. 2 weeks ago, I probably would have believed every word. But now, all I saw was someone terrified of losing control. You don't love me, I said calmly. You love the idea of keeping your options open. Her eyes brimmed with tears. She reached for me, but I stepped back. I'm not your second choice, I said. I'm not the guy you fall back on because the other one didn't work out. She shook her head, desperate. You're not. You're the one I want. You had months to figure that out, I told her. And you didn't. She wiped her face, her chest rising and falling as she searched for a way to change my mind. But looking at her, I felt nothing. No rage. No heartbreak. Just a quiet, solid clarity. It's over, I said. Take care of yourself. Then I stepped back and shut the door. I never heard another knock. I watched from the window as she walked away. And for the first time, I didn't feel a thing. No ache. No longing. Just peace. It's strange how someone can vanish from your heart the moment you realize they never truly saw you. Marcus called to check in. Haley sent a long, kind message apologizing for how everything went down. I appreciated it, but I didn't need their comfort. What I needed was distance, and I gave that to myself. Work got easier. I started sleeping through the night again. I picked up my running routine. Dug out old hobbies I'd abandoned while trying to keep a crumbling relationship upright. One evening, out with friends, laughing louder than I had in months, my phone buzzed. A text from her. Can we talk? I stared at the message, not because I was tempted. I wasn't. I smiled, blocked her number, and slid the phone back in my pocket. That was it. No dramatic farewell. No final argument. Just, done. Funny thing about betrayal, when it hits, it feels like it'll tear you apart. Like you'll never recover. But the truth is, it gives you a gift. It strips away the fantasy, the excuses, the hope, and it shows you exactly who they are, and who you are without them. If Julia hadn't revealed the truth, I would have built a future on lies. Now, I'm building something solid. Something real. Just for me.